Hey guys, this is Shane with DNS Adventures, and today we are going to be talking about rain catchment systems. So first thing I'll say that I pretty much say in most of my videos these days is I'm not an expert. This is just what I've researched and how I built my particular rain catchment system. There are a ton of different ways to do this, and there's definitely a lot of wrong ways to do it, but there's also definitely a lot of right ways to do it. So just build a system that works for you. So the first thing I had to do with our water collection system here is actually create a foundation for it. As you know, water is very heavy, especially when you start accumulating a lot of it in one area. So what I ended up doing is getting a bunch of crush and run rock, compacting it all, putting down a layer, compacting it, putting down a layer, compacting it, putting down a layer, and compacting it. And I came through here and I ended up putting, what is that? 9 cement blocks per IBC tote. One thing to keep in mind is that your IBC totes might have a different height to them. Like this one actually had a different height than these two over there. So under these, I put 2x6s to be able to help level it out, and I just put I think it's 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood under here. So just keep that in mind while you're trying to level these things out. But keeping these systems level is very key if you want to be able to utilize the maximum amount of water in your tanks themselves. All right, now we're going to talk about from the top down basically. This video is more just to kind of give you ideas if you're thinking about building your own rain catchment system rather than a step-by-step how I did everything video. So a lot of these ideas I actually saw on other people's YouTube channels on their rain catchment system. So a lot of this stuff I kind of stole, you could say. But up here there's a diverter, a Y diverter, that you can either choose to use your rain catchment system or not. So you just flip it the direction you want the rainwater to go one way, flip it to your rain catchment system. The other one, it just drains into your normal gutter that you had previously. And all these products I'll just link on Amazon if you're wanting to take a look at them. There'll be affiliate links on there if you want to purchase something similar. I wanted to be able to use our existing gutter system in case we wanted to turn our rain catchment system off, which might be nice during the winter time if you are in an area that freezes over and you want to be able to winterize your system. So I'll have this coming down here during the winter time. During the summer, spring, fall, I can make use of this side, which goes into this first flush system. These first flush systems, there's a bunch of them you can buy online. I can't remember what the price or anything is, but so far it's been working very well. As you can see up there, there's a bit of debris in the screen that blocks off the leaves and decent sized debris. But if anything does get into this rain catchment system, it goes into this first flush system, which I didn't really size to my roof. It's just whatever room we had before we hit the ground here. But the first flush idea is basically just to collect any water just running off your roof that might be dirty and kind of push all that dirty water into this reservoir here to get it up and out of the way. But there's a little nipple at the bottom of this that slowly releases the water over time. Inside of this catchment system, there's a ball that sits in there. So once this fills up all the way, it blocks the rain water from going back in here and just keeps the dirty water in here. And then the fresh water goes off down this pipe. But as I was saying, you can adjust the nipple size on here in order to control how much water comes out here. So if it's coming out too fast, you just put in the smaller nipple. Otherwise, you just let it flow, I guess. But yeah, this is all 3-inch piping that I use through here. And this just passes from the first flush down here to our first IBC tote. And I'll talk about those to you real quick. So I ended up just getting 3 of these IBC totes and I got them used. You can buy new ones, but the new ones are awfully expensive. I think I bought 3 of these for 35 bucks each or something like that. Maybe it was 25 bucks each. Either way, it wasn't a whole lot for each one being about 250 to 275 gallons of storage each. It had iodine in there for udder cleaner basically for cows. And we still don't have them completely flushed out yet, so we haven't actually used this rain catchment system for much of anything yet. I'm just trying to get all the previous chemicals washed out of here. It is biodegradable. Make sure if you do get these, you get something that's biodegradable so you can actually use them for either watering your garden or for whatever your purpose is. But I went ahead and went with the IBC totes because they were cheaper than buying any other rain catchment system stuff you can find online, like the 225 or 300 gallon, like those big containers. I'll try to throw in a image here what I'm talking about. But these are so much cheaper for the amount of storage you get for water storage. And a couple tips I would say if you are looking for IBC totes, make sure you get the IBC totes if you can find them with the NPT connectors, because I did find out after, this is the only one I have connected via the NPT connector here. It was a lot easier just to thread it directly onto the IBC tote itself, because NPT is like a standard pipe fitting. A lot easier to use and to find supplies for. And for these two outside IBC totes, I had to use these, this Gator lock is a specific brand, but it's like a cam lock that goes over the top. And if you don't get your pipe connecting down here, which I'll talk about later, it does leak a little bit at those gaskets. So you really have to make sure you fit these on there tight. But back up to here before I get distracted even more. I just went ahead and put a screen on the top of this IBC tote, and that's where the water comes off the roof and goes into this collection system. And the way I have all these tied together is just, this is actually a 2-inch pipe down here, because there's it's basically a 2-inch output from these IBC totes. But I was watching some YouTube channels and they had these quick connect systems on here. They're rather expensive, but I think it's worth it, especially if you're in an area that you're going to be winterizing your system. I plan on taking this entire pipe off the water system and just leaving the water in the tanks, because we don't get sub-freezing that often here in Southern Virginia. We do, but not for like the entire day. So it has time to heat back up. And I don't think I'll have to worry about these totes bursting per se, but I guess we'll see over time. But I plan on taking these pipes off, and that's easier to do if you just put those quick connects on each one of these connections, and I'll just take off this entire unit as one unit. But you may have already figured this out already, because you guys are smart people. But the reason they're all tied together here on the bottom is so once the water starts filling up there, and these valves are open on these IBC totes, each one of these has a valve on them that you can open and close, but the water starts filling up equally across all of them. But yeah, as I was saying, one of these connection is the NPT connector, the other two are these cam locks. So I had to take into account that the cam locks are actually a little bit longer than just this little pipe section you can buy at your box store or hardware store for the PVC pipe here. So you have to make sure you measure things properly to make sure it's equal distance all the way across here. All I did is put that NPT connector into the cam lock here, 2-inch pipe. Then I put the quick connect, and in between the quick connect and the 2-inch pipe here, I had to put a small piece of pipe in there as well. 2-inch pipe. 2-inch pipe in between here comes to a T. I'll go off to the left first here, and then I'll go off to the right after that. Just connected with the 2-inch pipe, another T, sort of same deal. 2-inch pipe, your quick connect. You can barely see, but there's a pipe connecting between this and the 2-inch pipe here, or the 2-inch NPT connector that goes directly to the tank. Back over here, and you can see to make sure we lined up everything properly, we just drew some arrows on here so we can line those up afterwards. A little tip there, even though it doesn't look that great. And back here to this same deal here, I had to use a cam lock to connect to this, and then I had the 2-inch NPT to 2-inch pipe to quick connect, 2-inch pipe to a T, and some pipe over here. And I have a valve over here, I'll just show you. It's a little tight, but that way, in case I want to have a lot of water flow out of this thing at once, like if I needed to fill up a large bucket and I didn't want to wait for a small spigot to pour out all the water, I have this option here, but I'll show you the other alternative. I have actually 2 outputs on this. And this is what I was talking about here. I actually have a slight drip coming from my water tanks here because you have to adjust, since all the weight is on this pipe here, you're gonna have to adjust where this is sitting in order for that gasket not to leak in there around those cam locks. I would avoid using these cam locks if you can, because I still have not worked out that leak. Over 800 gallons in here, so it's really not that big of a deal to have a small leak. But I think I just made it worse by moving it around. So it's something to keep in mind as you're looking for these. I would definitely recommend trying to get the MPT connectors. But yeah, if you do have to use those cam locks, I do recommend, you're gonna have to support this pipe going along here regardless, but definitely having some nice cement blocks or something and some wedges in between here to make sure your pipe's level and everything, to prevent that from leaking as much as possible. Then as we make our way down to the overflow, so as your 3 or however many IBC totes you have hooked in parallel or whatever you want to call it, starts filling up here, it'll start filling up this pipe at the same time, and that's when it will hit this overflow. I don't know if I really needed to do this, but I've heard some people talking about the water might siphon out if you don't have proper air to escape out through here. So I just drilled a couple holes in there, put a screen on it. Doesn't seem to be causing any issues. Threw some zip ties around it, and then just have the overflow going off towards our normal drainage. But on this side of the quick connect, as I was saying earlier, you just get to your 2-inch pipe here, another T, except that T is going up instead of sideways. Then I put a little cap here that just goes to your regular garden hose connector, and then I just put a garden hose spigot in here. So if you wanted to hook a 3/4 inch garden hose up here, you could. Another thing we did with our rain catchment system is just threw on these covers, and that's really to keep the algae and other stuff from growing inside of your containers. And also, I don't know how true it is, I'll find out this winter, but I think with the sun hitting these tarps, it might actually heat up the water a little bit inside as well. But each one of these is just fitted with this little Velcro topper on here, and I just put a screen on each one of these so airflow can get in and out of this easily. But I just cover it up so the sun can't get to it. But yeah, nothing too incredibly complicated. It did take a little planning in order to fit this and size our location here, but it's been working well. The overflow works well. We don't have to worry about water shooting out the top of these things. We've had some very hard downpours with these things completely full, and the 2-inch pipe seems to be more than enough to be able to take care of the water coming off our roof. Obviously, if you have a huge roof, you may have to plan accordingly and make something larger, I don't know. But yeah, nice little fun project. So if we ever lose power and need water, we have some water supply or just some rain catchment to water the garden as well. Well guys, I kind of flew through that video just because the sun is going down. I'm trying to fit this video in after work. We're going to be getting below freezing here soon, and I'm starting to think I better winterize this, and I realized I hadn't made a video on this yet, so here I am making a video right after work trying to squeeze this in. So if you do have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Again, I'm not an expert, but I can try to answer this to the best of my ability. Yeah, quick little overview for something that I think anyone can do. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like it. You can also check us out at dnsadventures.com. And as always, adventure on.